Let's make way for Sam Miller. Enjoyed the column. The article is, "Welcome to the era of terrible, horrible, no good, very bad 30 home run hitters." All right, you had me at the title there, Sam. Welcome to the program. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, you're very welcome.
All right. Is this a good thing or bad thing with what's happened with all these home runs this year?
You know, it's tough to say because the fact is that baseball was already going to this sort of slow and stagnant style of play just because pitchers throw so hard, because there are so many good pitchers that bullpens are thick with 99-mile-an-hour fastball throwers. And teams that are trying to win are simply going to load up on pitchers who can get strikeouts, and pitchers are going to try to strike guys out. And so baseball was already getting sort of slow and inactive. And without the home runs, I think we'd probably be in a place where offense was so low that a team would fall behind 3-1 in the fifth inning, and there really would be no point in still watching. Now, that said, I think that the incentives have also caused a lot more players to swing for the fences in a way that a lot of people, not just purists, but casual fans as well, find a little bit aesthetically boring. And it is kind of the offense and the defense have sort of spurred each other into this arms race of boom or bust. And I don't know that it's the most exciting style of play. In fact, I'm very confident it's not the most exciting style of play. Yeah. That said, home runs, they're keeping the game afloat a little bit. And in the examples that I cited with some of these players, they're keeping careers going that might otherwise have been endangered.
Why the sudden rise in home runs? Now, I know we've heard a lot of reasons. If I said, what's the number one overall reason, Sam, why we've had, this explosion in home runs?
Well, the number one overall reason is most likely that in the summer of 2015, around the All-Star break, something changed in the manufacture of baseballs. I'm not saying it was a conspiracy. I'm not saying it was intentional. But I believe that most likely, the evidence suggests that most likely teams got new baseballs. Those baseballs had probably slightly lower seams. The resistance of balls went down a little bit, and that small effect has caused a lot more home runs. And I think players are able to sense that home runs are a little cheaper now, and you've seen more players go for home runs and try to get more fly balls and maybe swing a little bit more aggressively. But I think the primary cause is probably, there's no proof of this, but there's really good evidence, strong evidence, that the baseball changed a little bit.
But, Sam, can the manufacturer do something without permission from Major League Baseball?
Well, it's interesting because the specifications that baseball gives to manufacturers are sufficiently broad that within those specifications, you're talking about baseballs that might travel 20 or 30 extra feet, depending on which extreme of the specifications you are. And it's been the case. Alan Nathan is a physicist who's done a lot of work on baseball in general and baseballs specifically, and he's shown that within the same batch, you can even have two baseballs that might travel 15 feet differently based on small, really very small things. I really don't think that there's a conspiracy here. I don't think that this was intentional by the manufacturer or baseball. And again, we're talking about something that is so far there's not completely convincing evidence that this has even happened, and baseball hasn't acknowledged that this has happened. But the answer to your question is yes. Without even trying, a very small change could cause relatively large differences in the way that baseball is played.
We're talking to Sam Miller, national baseball columnist, feature writer for ESPN, former editor-in-chief of Baseball Prospectus. I keep hearing launch angle here, Sam, as if everybody decided they were going to change their swing and the launch angle would be different. How much do you credit launch angle with these hitters for the influx of home runs?
I think that for individual players, their careers that we have seen change along with the trajectory of the baseballs that they've been hitting. So I think that there's no doubt that, like, for instance, Josh Donaldson of the Toronto Blue Jays was an early adopter of this launch angle idea, the idea that he should just sell out and hit a lot more fly balls. And that does go counter to a lot of hitting instruction that these guys are raised on, which is hit down on the ball, hit line drives. It makes sense that some players have figured out that, in fact, hitting fly balls is pretty good because home runs count for more than everything else. So I'm not denying that there's some of that going on, but if you look at the way that home runs started coming really almost literally overnight in July of 2015, I don't even know if I need to say almost literally overnight at the All-Star break. If you look week by week, it's like the line just spikes. It's hard to imagine that there was a sudden league-wide awakening to the idea that home runs are good. It's been roughly a century that we've known home runs are good.
You had the incident yesterday at Yankee Stadium where the little girl was hit by the foul ball. How does baseball react to this?
Well, I think that baseball has always look. This is a sport that is sort of scary when you think about what's going on. This baseball is hard and it goes fast, and there are a lot of people in danger on every pitch. And we've been lucky that there have not really been a lot of tragedies or deaths in the sport for a long time. And so there hasn't been a need, or I guess baseball hasn't felt a need to really take drastic steps to protect the fans, or for that matter, the pitchers, or perhaps even the catchers. And what troubles me is that eventually something really severely tragic is going to happen, and then they'll act. And it just feels like this is a situation. Netting in front of some seats, to me, doesn't seem like something that you need to really fight that hard against. As my friend Harry Pavlidis pointed out yesterday, the most expensive seats in the stadium are also the ones behind netting right now, which suggests strongly that consumers get used to it, that it isn't a significant disruption in the game. I think there's been momentum toward more netting, obviously, in the last few years. And I just really like to see people fix problems before the terrible, terrible, terrible thing happens. So I don't know if yesterday was a wake-up call. That was a really hard scene to watch.
Yeah.
It got a lot more attention than the average foul ball, which, is putting some people in danger on almost every pitch.
Sam, thank you. I enjoyed the column. Good luck the rest of the season. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
That's Sam Miller. He's with the Mothership now, feature writer for them, baseball columnist.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.